Welcome to the Books and Martinis podcast.
I'm Priya.
And I'm Mercy.
And this is your go-to book podcast,
where we lift, empower, and spotlight authors.
Grab your martini and follow along.
And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to our podcast. I'm Priya.
And I'm Mercy. Welcome, everybody. A huge cheers today to Kathy, who is joining us from work, from the hospital, on her break. So cheers to her. Thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm. Kathy Shuck. Yeah. And she is a very, very extra special guest for us today because she is not the author of the book we're featuring. Actually, the book we're featuring is written by her daughter, Sierra Shuck-Sparer. And the name of the book, I'm holding it up for our viewers, is Lady Sunflower. Look how beautiful that is. Yes. And there's a special reason why Kathy is doing the interview, and we'll let her share that in a second. But welcome, Kathy. We're so happy to have you.
Yes, we're very honored to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Priya, you want to tell us a little bit about Lady Sunflower? And most importantly, a little bit about Sierra before we have Kathy tell us more?
Sure. So Lady Sunflower is actually a collection of stories, songs, and poems from the desk of Kill Gertrude by Sierra Shuck-Sparer. And it's a really dramatic collection, guys. Like, it's so beautiful. All these moments captured in this book are essentially like her journal entries from her life leading up to her passing. And I'm just going to read her bio from the background. Sierra was a part-time poet and artist and a full-time student at the Georgia Institute of Technology, majoring in healthcare and public policy. She enjoyed making earrings and other art, collecting tiny things, reading, and making random movie references from the 20 movies she watched over and over again. I love that. When she was not in school, she lived in Knoxville, Tennessee with her cat, beagle, brother, parents, and Gertrude, who she has known for 5 years and has continued to try to evict. I really want to know I really want you to tell us who Gertrude is.
Oh, she's the villain.
Gertrude is the villain of the story for sure.
Yes.
So my daughter Sierra was the sun, the moon, and the stars to me. And when she was 15, she started having headaches after she fell ice skating. She had been an ice skater for many years. And she fell on the ice, and we thought she had a concussion. And this was at the start of her sophomore year of high school. And we treated her for a concussion. She went to a neurologist for several weeks, and she had all the hallmarks of a young adolescent girl with a concussion. She had previous concussions, so it all made sense until it just didn't get better. And she finally had an MRI about 10 days before Halloween in 2018. And the MRI revealed not a concussion, but a brain tumor. And so immediately after that, it was a pretty advanced brain tumor by the time it was caught. She immediately went into surgery and then commenced almost a year of cancer treatment, which ate up the whole of her sophomore year of high school. She successfully completed that treatment and moved back home. She had her treatment at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. So we moved ourselves from Knoxville, Tennessee to Memphis for her treatment. And she finished treatment, came back, finished high school, and a couple months before she graduated in 2021, the tumor came back. And she had named that tumor Gertrude. Because she said that was the ugliest name she could think of, with apologies to Gertrude. So Gertrude was the tumor, and she was super artistic. So all through her chemo and her treatment, she drew and wrote things and set up an Instagram account called Kill Gertrude, just as ways to kind of process what she was going through. And she, as a teen cancer patient, was eligible for Make-A-Wish. she really wanted to go to Japan for her Make-A-Wish. She loved tiny, cute things, and Japan is full of tiny, cute things. But COVID happened, and then she relapsed and couldn't travel. So she pivoted and said, I want to publish a book. And I said, great, what do you mean this book? Well, it turned out that she had been writing, journaling and doing poetry and all of these things from the moment that she found out about her diagnosis all the way through. And so the Make-A-Wish people in Knoxville connected her with Flower Pot Press in Nashville, Tennessee. And they produced, in collaboration with Sierra, who they joked was kind of the producer and art director. She had very strong opinions about the book, but they worked with her to produce this book. And after she graduated from high school, she had relapsed. She had more cancer, but she really wanted to go to college. So she did kind of a short series of chemo, started college, and she completed 2 years of college being kind of in and out of cancer treatment. And at the end of 2023, she really started to go downhill, because once you relapse from medulloblastoma, there is no cure. It's really just a matter of time for how long you're going to survive after that. So she, we knew she was time limited. We hoped she would have more time than she did. But she really wanted to get this book done, and the publisher really wanted to get the book out while she was still living. And this was a for real published book. They had it printed in China, the whole 9 yards. So the proofs were done at the end of 2023, and they had it in the production pipeline for a March 24 release date. By the fall of 23, we knew she wasn't doing very well, and they kind of pre-printed a couple of cases so that Sierra could go to the Southern Festival of Books and have a little book signing there and have a launch. And then the real book came in just a couple weeks before she passed away, and we had a book launch party at our house, because at that point she couldn't get out of bed. The mayor of Knoxville came and kind of was the host for the book launch party. We had people on Zoom all over the country. We had our publisher Zoom in from Nashville, and it was really lovely. And we had a stamp made with her signature, and the books that you held up have her signature stamp in the front. And she was not able to write at that point, but she was able to hold a stamp and stamp those books, because what she really wanted, the first thing she wanted, was for people to hear her story and get the book out in the world. So thank you for being part of that. And the second thing was she just really wanted to have that book signing. So we had the book signing event.
Is this a picture of her at the book signing from the postcard?
That's her at the Southern Festival of Books. Yep. In October of 23.
So
her sunflower regalia. Yep.
Aww, I love it.
I'm so touched by her story, as I'm sure anybody that reads her story would be. And I feel it's such a beautiful message and so empowering to others that are going through it or are starting a journey, a sad journey with their own Gertrude. There were so many things I couldn't tell you, because there was something so special in every single page of her journal. But there were a couple of things that really stood out to me that I wanted to share with you. And one of the things that for me hit home was when she says that it really bothered her to hear people say, just my luck, for something so stupid or simple, right? And she's like, really, you're going to complain about your luck? Also, when she said, I'm not scared of dying, I'm just sad of not living.
Yeah.
That was, that's
powerful.
It was just deep. Yeah. And her whole journey is so perfectly put together for others to truly comprehend it. It's not like a medical journal full of just, words and words and words. This, she drew, she broke it down, she made things rhyme, she made some things funny, some things deep, some things sad. She included her playlist of her songs.
I love that.
That was crazy. Her bucket hat spoke about every little detail, from her lashes to her hair to, again, her bucket hat.
Her health pills, which is on the cover.
Yes.
Her health pills. That's so cute.
Yeah. And, I had several questions about everything you had spoken about, how she originally was contacted by the Make-A-Wish Foundation to go, and she wanted to go to Japan. And then she realized she had to move to Memphis, have the brain surgery, have 30 days of radiation, then 7 months of chemo. And just when she thought, okay, great, now we can look into going to Japan, COVID hit and everything kind of stopped. And Make-A-Wish said, you need to come up with another wish because you can't travel there. We can't travel there. And that's when she decided to publish her book and to be a published author, which is, of course, what we're all about. And then, you know, completely unexpected and sadly, she had her second surgery in Knoxville, and so on and so on. But you know the story, obviously, and it takes so much more than I think I could ever bear to share what you're sharing, but more importantly, to go through what you've gone through. So, Priya and I, from the bottom of our hearts, really, truly thank you for sharing your time with us today. And I wanted to ask you, usually we ask the author, what was the process of writing the book? What was it like? What was your goal when you wrote the book? We have like a whole series of questions for authors. In your case, I'm going to ask you, mother to mother, Priya, being a mother, and every woman is either a daughter, a sister, a friend, or a mother. How has this journey impacted you? Clearly, we know absolutely devastating when you were going through this, but once the book was published and she was resting and away from all this horrible pain that she endured back in March of 2024, how has life been for you now?
Well, it's hard. It is, as anybody who's lost a child knows, it's the worst thing that can happen to you as a parent. It really is. You would rather lose your own leg than to lose a child. I think a lot about what the quote that you said about
just my luck.
I think, Sierra was able to go through everything that she went through and still have a very full life and still find a lot of joy in life. At the celebration of her life, we had this amazing slideshow, and she's smiling in all the pictures. She would smile with IVs in her arm and with a birth bag in her hand, and she just was always able to find the ray of sunshine. And so that's the main thing that has been my inspiration, is as long as I am still living, I'm still going to find joy in every day. I'm still going to find something in the world to be happy about. And I'm going to still lean into the things that bring me joy, because I'm not going to bring her back by putting a bag over my head and sitting in a corner, right? And I have a son who's going to be a senior in high school, and this is his life too. And, I have a husband, and, it's not, we've been given more time, and it's not doing anyone any service to not use that time. So it's hard to explain to someone that hasn't experienced it how thorough the grief is. I think of it as like a chronic condition. You just are sad all the time. But you can hold other things in your heart also. You can be sad, and you can also enjoy going for a swim. You can enjoy the snowflakes. You can enjoy your son. You can enjoy your husband. You can enjoy your friends. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't. I believe that it does not disrespect Sierra's memory to say, we're still going to live. And I think that's what she would want. One of the pieces in the book, she says, when I'm gone, I'll still be there. It's okay. Mm-hmm. And I hope that's true.
Mm-hmm. And she did have some time to process her whole journey. What advice would you give parents that are going through what you went through, or even patients that are going through what she went through, being that you lived all of that? Is there anything special that you think made a difference for you that could make a difference for others?
Well, Sierra said it best in her book. I think she has a lot of good advice for being a cancer patient, for being the mom or the parent of a cancer patient. I think it's is to just be as present as you can. It is, it's so hard for the patient, and it's a lot of times it's tedious, and you're up all night and you're waiting for a long time in cold exam rooms, and you're sitting by your child while they're getting infusions. You're trying to get them to eat something. It can be really tedious, but this is where your kid's at right now, and you have to put down your phone and you need to be present with them, because some days I look back on the worst day and I think, wow, well, that was still better than now. Someday, and I think about that with her being gone too, is I think, well, someday I'll look back and say, oh, I should have appreciated that I was still healthy, that I still had a good job, that I still, still had my son at home, that, you've got to try and find the joy. And then the other thing on a more practical level is you have to advocate for your child. Sierra had excellent medical care. Pediatric oncology care in this country is very good. We're really lucky that way. But there's still nobody that knows your child better than you do. And you have to, listen to what they need, pay attention to what they need, and help them advocate, because they can't. And even a teenager has a hard time advocating for themselves for what they need. Yeah. What's going to make them feel better?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I do have to say, like, how phenomenal is that Sierra thought to use her Make-A-Wish to publish a book, because now
Selfless.
So it's much bigger than her at that point, because she's not wishing for a Disney World trip. She's not wishing for a celebrity to show up for that one moment of joy. She's sharing her story and her joy with the world, essentially. And she's like, put it in your hands to do more with it, to impact lives. Yeah. And how powerful is that? And how powerful that Make-A-Wish made it happen and made it a process for her. And she got to be so involved. Like, that's so beautiful. I wanted to ask you, I have a couple of favorite passages from here, her entries and her poems. Is there a specific poem or entry that she did that's your favorite?
There's so many. I went through the book again this week, ahead of this session, and every time I read it, a different one kind of jumps out to me as far as I think where I am. She's my child, so I feel like everything she did was practically
beautiful.
Perfect in every way. There's one thing, just a phrase on one of the pages, that just has the single, where she says, "I often wish the world would stop and wait for me to get better, but it never does." And that was the hardest part of cancer for her, especially as a teenager, all the things that she missed. And I feel like that sentence is so poignant and perfect, because I think a lot of people feel that way when, for whatever reason, whether it's cancer or mental illness or having to care for a family member or something, when you're taken away from the flow of the world, and then
you see it going on.
Yeah.
You see the world moving on, and she, funny enough, would put a sunflower on that one page, which made it
so
extra special.
So I have to point out that many of the illustrations, including the sunflowers, were done by Chloe Tyler, who is an illustrator with Flower Pot Press.
Okay.
She is responsible for most of those, for many of the pen and ink drawings. Some of them are Sierra's. Now, the placement of all of that, the art direction, that was Sierra. That I want this here and this there. The creation of a lot of the art was Chloe.
Okay.
Oh, I love that.
That's my understanding of the process.
Okay. Wow.
It's just so beautiful.
There's a poem in here, The Multiverse Me. I love space stuff, so that's my jam. So when I came across that, but she may not be here physically, but if there's a multiverse, if the multiverse really exists, she's still here. And she's doing something else. You know, she might be living on the moon with a purple axolotl, you know, or
that was
go ahead. What?
Yeah, no, that's the one that I read the other day that I thought like, oh, maybe she'll is still here. I love that because I go down that spiral a lot myself. There's this parallel world. It makes me think of, do you remember the movie Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow? And in one of them, she gets on the train, and it's like two lives that change whether she misses a train or not. Anyway, I
remember that movie.
About that a lot. It's just the life where she didn't get the brain tumor, the life where, and it's maybe that life is out there. I can't touch it, so it doesn't help me. But I sometimes just
feel stuck in this
spiral.
one. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I appreciated when I came across it the other day and thought, oh, she thought exactly the same thing. The other one that I love is How Are You Feeling Today? And it starts out with, today I'm feeling a tad bit hysterical if I have to answer another question for someone who means well. And she was, and other people going through cancer and hard things have talked about the tyranny of people who want to know, like, who are you? And how hard it is to answer that question. But I love the way that she did it. And especially knowing that she was always so gracious and patient with everybody. She never was snarky to a nurse or to another family or, anything. And you see some kids, some teens in therapy that they're in dark places. Like, what in the world? Be a teenager and get cancer? Like, how much does that suck? Mm-hmm. And she processed, I think, a lot of that through this writing, so that she was still able to present a very kind face to the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Her journaling, everything took so much that she probably, I don't think, even realized the impact that it would have. But she did a huge favor to those who will sadly have to go through a journey like hers, to be able to look at somebody else's journey and how they kept their spirits high and how they were real about how terrible some of it was. And even the graphs she puts, one graph compared to another, like how her day goes from, right? So here I am, complete downtime, doing nothing but watching shows and movies and nothing else. And then there's times that, you're in absolute misery and you just feel horrible all the time and you wish for that downtime. So
she was such a doer. She made lists every day before she had cancer, while she had cancer, and after she had cancer. Every day of all the things I'm going to do today. And there were always like 37 things on the list. And on those horrible days, kind of, that's what she would get through. I'm going to try to drink something. I'm going to watch 3 movies, and I'm going to take all my meds on time. And like, check. And that was helpful to her. Yeah. I have to say one thing, and I don't think it's going to show up, but one of the things she talks about is making crafts. She made these origami earrings. I'm wearing one. You can't really see them. But she was really into origami. And
oh, wow.
So she learned to do origami in the 4th grade. And she always had really good dexterity. And we were sitting at dinner one night, and she took the little paper napkin thing, where the green paper around the napkin, and she folded it into this teeny tiny crane. And I said, yeah, you could make earrings out of those. And she goes, okay. And she went home and found a friend that knew how to make jewelry and figured out a way to make origami earrings. And starting from she was about halfway through her cancer treatment, she made these crane earrings and sold them online. I think she had them on Etsy for a little while. And she donated all the money to St. Jude. And she sold the earrings for $10 a pair. And she ended up donating $7,000 to St. Jude.
Wow.
She made hundreds of these little earrings. Just all just because she could never be idle. She'd just sit there. If she didn't feel like doing anything else, she'd fold cranes.
Wow.
It was amazing.
How beautiful.
That's a big part of her story. That's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. I want to hear more about Japan. Like, so she liked little things. I mean, all the little tchotchkes and things that you'd find in Japan, all the cute cartoony things. Why Japan? Yeah. Tell us more about that.
Well, I think because in grade school, one of her teachers had, I don't remember if it was a foreign exchange student or what, a Japanese woman who came to school and taught the kids origami, and her name was Junko. And she went back to Japan, and she and Sierra became pen pals, actually. I have not been in touch with Junko since Sierra passed away, but they were always friends. And so, partly she wanted to go and see Junko, and she loved Junko's stories about Japan. And she just loved cute, tiny things. That was just her damn aesthetic. Like anything, and she was a collector, like you should program, like hundreds of just little figures and keychains and charms and like little things. And Japan, that is the aesthetic in Japan, right? It's things are small and the design is very clever, but also very cute. She loved Hello Kitty, but she loved us all of the little things. And I think Junko was probably the root of that, but it also just really resonated with her artistic sensibility.
So she must have met her when she was about 15, you think? Or she was younger?
No, it's fourth grade. She was about 10.
Oh,
wow.
Okay. And that so she stayed in touch with
that
her for that long.
That relationship
amazing.
grew.
Yeah. Sarah she was one of those kids that was born older. She was always very mature and good with adults. She went to Montessori school, and in Montessori school, they, really encouraged the kids to have independent and kind of almost peer relationships with adults. So she was just comfortable in the world and comfortable with adults.
Do you think you'll ever visit Japan for her?
I would like to. I think it would make me sad, but I would like to do it. When we had her celebration of life, the mayor, who's quoted in the book on the back and who was at Sierra's book launch, was actually in Japan and sent us a video from Japan with Lady Sunflower and said, I'm here, I've brought the book, and I'm remembering Sierra in Japan.
Oh, I love that.
That's rough. That's hard. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do, on a final note, this beautiful book, Lady Sunflower by Shuck-Sparer. It's stories, songs, and poems from the desk of Kill Gertrude. And I like that Gertrude, which is a name, and because it's a name, it has an uppercase G every time she refers to her. However,
that's so brilliant.
Cover of the book, it is a lowercase g. They gave Gertrude no power. So I love that little detail. Where could others find this book and learn more about Sierra's story? And what would Sierra want out of somebody that read the story? Did she leave a wish or a thought about her book? Was it to maybe make a donation, or what exactly were her goals with that?
Sierra would love as many people as possible to read this book. She wasn't in it to sell copies. All of her royalties, her $1 book, or her whatever it was, the royalty were all donated to Make-A-Wish as a thank you to them for doing this. She would just want people to read it. So it's still available on Amazon. It's still in print. Please buy it and pass it on to someone. It's, we have heard from a lot of people who are going through cancer, and I think people are sometimes hesitant to share the book because she died. It does not have a happy ending. But for people in that situation, like, they know that's a reality. People need to be able to lean in to the scary part and know that they're not alone in the scary part. And so I would encourage people to read it and share it, and don't be afraid especially if it's a young person, don't be afraid that they can't handle the truth. They know the truth. And Sierra is helping. One mom of another teen cancer patient said, my son is not as articulate as your daughter was, but she has given a voice to a lot of the feelings and the fears that he has, and that is very helpful. Mm-hmm. And that's what she would want. She would just want people. I have to say that we say to people, we love Ted Lasso in our family. Yes. And at the end of the first season, the end of the first season, when they're sad, they're all in the locker room and they're sad that they lost. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but he says, the only thing worse than being sad is being sad alone. And to everybody that has reached out to us, we say thanks, because we're still sad, but we're not sad alone. And I think Sierra's book can help people, find joy in even horrible situations, but also if they're sad or they're angry or they're hurt or just disappointed or confused, she lets them know that they are not alone in feeling that way.
Right. Wow. And I'm so glad we're part of her message, and all the love and all the emotions and everything that she put into this book. And I'm so glad we met you and we're able to talk about her story. Thank you for sharing it with us and being our guest today on the Books and Martinis podcast, and sharing Lady Sunflower by Sierra Shuck-Sparer. And it's been a pleasure. I want to do one last cheers. And of course, we'll put all this information in the summary for everybody to check out after they listen to the podcast. But let's do one last cheers in honor of Sierra.
Right. Thank you for having Mercy.
Absolutely. And this is for Sierra, wherever she's watching
Sierra.
Us from.
Salute.
We're remembering her. Absolutely. And sending her our love.
Thank you, Kathy, for being our guest today. It was an honor to be part of this. For everyone listening and watching, make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe. Check out Sierra's book, Lady Sunflower, on Amazon. And we'll see you in the next episode.